This is the source that we're using, Texas Real Estate Sales Exam, 4th edition. It's a PDF format and it's by Learning Express. It's an old version from 2006. However, the majority of the questions, at least 95% or more, are correct and accurate. This is the table of contents. There are 4 exams on this source, exam 1, 2, 3, and 4 of 110 questions. The first 80 are national questions and the last 30 are state. And you have to have a 70 score on both exams. All right. So we left off on national, starting on question number 11 on exam number 2. Okay? I wish we were in person or on Zoom so you guys could do some of the questions in addition to me. You know, last week I got a scare. I almost thought I had Saturday. Oh, okay. So you're taking it on Saturday. I'm gonna write it on here so that I can, Saturday afternoon. So Friday, today's 11, 12, 13, 14. So it's the 11th, 14th. All right. I'll put in a prayer for you. Okay. Anybody else taking it? Y'all can pray for each other and help each other and, you know, study together. You can do a, what is it, Google Meet, or there are other, you know, you can do Zoom one-on-one for free. And I can do Zoom in the morning. Okay, so you won't be doing the Saturday morning class. I can do Zoom also, however, I would not be able to then record them on Facebook Live. However, if I do them on Zoom and I convert to YouTube, then that won't be an issue. Except again, on YouTube, on Zoom, you wouldn't be able to interact with me. It would be similar to this, unless I pay the $49 or $50 for it. Okay, number 11, national questions. Rachel Smith did it. So since Tanisha is taking the national exam on Saturdays, would you all mind if we did all national questions, even though I have my sessions split up? Anybody else taking their exam and doing both this weekend? Think about it and answer. 11, Rachel Smith deeded a parcel of land to the city with a requirement that it be used only as a city park. The city owns the land so long as that certain prescribed conditions are met. Ms. Smith owns a reversionary interest in the parcel. Vocabulary, reversionary. The city's ownership is known as a fee on condition precedent, a fee simple determinable estate, a fee simple estate, a fee simple temporary. So it won't be a, it has to be some kind of a fee simple, which means they have a right to use it on the condition that they use it as a park. Remember to type the question and the answer. Thanks, Curtis, for wishing everybody good luck. So number 11, fee simple, it's like having all the bundle of rights, okay, is the highest form of real property ownership. Fee simple determinable is a form of a defeasible fee estate, meaning that is the city's ownership may be lost if the land is used for anything other than a park and the requirements are determined in the deed. Ms. Smith or her heirs would recover ownership by reversionary interest, okay? She has reversionary interest, means if they do not follow her prescribed conditions, then they will lose use of that property. They cannot encumber it, they cannot sell it, okay? So it's almost like they're using it temporary However, it's dependent on a determined use of it, prescribed conditions. So she has reversionary interest, means it'll go back if they violate those conditions, and they have a fee simple, you know, one of the best ways of using it, with a determinable estate. Okay, so fee simple determinable is a form of a defeasible fee estate, meaning that the city ownerships may lose it, may be lost if the land is not used. So fee simple is the highest form of real property that someone can have. So the owner has fee simple interest on that property because she can get it back. She has all the bundle of rights. Okay, the person who receives real property through a will is known as a, so person who receives real property through a will. Remember, we went over testator prior, okay? So that is A, the devicee, B, testator, C, vendee, or D, legatee. So the ORs, or the givers. Anyone in El Paso? I used to live in El Paso. So that's where you are, Tanisha, right? Okay, so devicee, testator, vendee, or legatee. Okay, I have 12A, I have 12B. Oh, I forgot to write the answer for 11B. And Didi Villarreal Moreno is watching. Hey, Didi. All right, so number 12. A, the transfer of real property to a will is known as a device. Okay, so the devicee, remember, EE are the receivers, OR or the givers. So Tanisha, you said testator, and so that is the owner, the one who writes the will. Remember, we saw it says it had to be, he was doing it, what was it in the glossary? Intestate. What was it? Holographic will. He signed by the testator. That's the owner of the handwritten will. Okay? So yeah, that's how good vocabulary is. All right, so number 12 is A, devicee. How you been, Miss Didi? Says, welcome back, Carter. Except you're not Carter. Okay, number 13. So remember vendor, vendee. Vendor is the seller at a flea market or selling, you know, the vending machine. The vendee is the one that's buying, receiving. The time that it's reversed in the pronunciation is the mortgagor and mortgagee. Because the lender is receiving money, right? They're the mortgagee. They're receiving payment. And they receive also the collateral, okay? And the deed with their name on it. The mortgagor got the money and they're making the payment. Okay, number 13. The furnace at 39 State Street doesn't work properly. However, because the prospective buyers inspect the house in July, there is no indication of this. The condition of the furnace is known as A, an encumbrance, B, a cloud on title, C, a latent defect, D, an economic obsolescence. So think about it. If you know what encumbrance is, clout on title has to do with the title of the property. If there's any issues with it, it could be loans, it could be the names, it could be liens, judgments. Well, loans and liens, same difference. An encumbrance can also be a clout on title. Economic obsolescence, no matter what you do to the property, you can't improve it. So then, what is it? I already explained it pretty much. Latent or hidden defects are those that cannot be seen by a normal, prudent inspection. 8C. Okay, number 14. The amount of commission to be paid to a broker is determined by, so remember, is commission negotiable? A, the Federal Trade Commission. B, negotiation between agent and client. C, the Sherman Antitrust Act. D, the Local Association of Realtors. So who determines the commission? Oh, that's weird. I wrote down 8C. What the heck was I looking at? You guys gotta stay on top of me, correct me. 14B, negotiation between agent and client, right? Because who gets to decide? The owner has to decide. So B, antitrust legislation forbids any community-wide standard for fees which must be set by agreement between the parties. Yes, it is. Aren't these questions good? But man, I've read some questions that I'm like, how the heck did they come up with those questions? Even I get them wrong. There are some challenging questions on those exams that it's like, I've never seen anything like it. So 14B. I'm glad I don't have to take the exam. But doing a lot of these questions, okay, helps. And knowing your vocabulary. But there are some strange situations that they provide that, you know, we have to use a lot of common sense, really think about it, and they're easy to get wrong. Guys, I may quit class early. I'm not feeling, I see I'm making a lot of mistakes here. 15. Ms. Harris is advertising a room to rent in her home. Which of the following advertisements would not be legal? Not. So she's advertising a room in her home. Okay? So A, wanted non-smoker to rent room in large one-story home near public transportation. B, wanted female to rent room in large one-story home near public transportation. C, wanted white female to rent room in large one-story home near public transportation. D, all of the above. So which one would not be legal? All right, I have a D, all of the above. Okay, keep in mind who is renting. She's renting a room in her home. It's not an apartment complex or an independent home. If you're a single woman, you may not want to have a man there. Okay? 15C. It is always illegal to discriminate of anyone based on color or race. An exception to the protection against gender sex discrimination allows a person to specify gender when renting a room or unit in a dwelling of 4 units or less where the owner also resides. Okay, so the owner doesn't have to rent to smokers, can only rent to females if they want, but not specify a race. If not, it's going to be on their own verbal word, but not if they're posting it and advertising it. So 15C. Number 16. Any questions? I see that Curtis, you answered D, and so did Dee Dee. So keep in mind, who was it? A female, and it's at her private home. So she has a right to be able to prevent non-smokers. Many places don't allow smokers, right? And many places, if it's a single person, don't want a man around. Okay? All right, 16. A seller must sell quickly because of a personal financial need. I didn't read carefully about the private home. Yes, okay. Yes. Oh, don't feel bad. I make that mistake myself. So it's in her home. A seller must sell quickly because of a personal financial need and instruct her listing agent to list the property at a price just under market value as determined by the competitive market analysis, right? Competitive shows actives and solds, and we can also show them the pending. That's so that we can show them what properties they're competing with. The listing agent should do what? A, write distressed sales, seller anxious in all advertising. B, tell buyers to make any offers as the seller is desperate. C, help the seller stage the property and market it at listed price. D, do all of the above to get a quick sale. So what's our duty as when we have an agency agreement as a realtor, as an agent? Our fiduciary duty is to get the best for our seller or buyer. Negotiate the best price, negotiate the best terms without letting anybody else know that they're anxious or desperate. The only time that we would say quick sell, motivated seller is when the seller provides permission to do that and they want us to put that on the agent remarks and listing remarks. Okay, see, I've got CCC. Yes, yes, yes. 16C. Great job. Hi, Elodie. Very good. 16C. All right, number 17. You saw the answer. Oops. I like these short ones. The Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act, RESPA, Real Estate Settlement Procedures Act. So what's a settlement? So that's the closing settlement statement, right? A, all residential financing, and so it's the preliminary costs also created by the lender to let the buyer know what their closing costs are going to be, what it's going to cost to purchase that property and to get the loan. So RESPA is for A, all residential financing, B, land contracts, C, first mortgages only, D, financing of 1 to 4 family residences. So think about this carefully, okay? Remember land contracts, we defined it earlier. installment contracts or contract for deed. So RESPA applies to, this was also on the test. I said 17A. Okay, Vernica said 17A. AAA. D. Okay, trick keyword. When it says all, a residential financing could be an investment residential financing, okay? RESPA is not there to protect investors, okay? And so if they buy multiple residential properties, it's not going to cover it. And if not just for first mortgages, and it doesn't cover land contracts, which is owner financing. So the answer is D. RESPA sets requirements for all federally related mortgages and home equity loans on 1 to 4 family residences. So federally regulated mortgages and home equity loans. As long as it's a 1 to 4 residence, RESPA will protect it. So if you're an investor buying single family homes, okay, then it's a 1 to 4 family residence. If you're buying a 5-plex, 6-plex, then it's not covered. And see, it includes home equity loans. You may have a mortgage and now you've got a high balance of equity. That's the difference between the current market value and the balance of your loan. That's equity, right? So you could get a loan on the equity of that mortgage. So it covers also those loans, which we call HELOC, home equity loans of credit. So 17D. Very good, Curtis. Number 18. Wow, this is a long one. Can I skip it? A broker has listed a tract of land on the outskirts of a city with frontage on a major interstate highway. Okay, listed a tract of land on the outskirts of the city, so it's in the county, with frontage of a major interstate highway. More than likely it's county, okay, on the outskirts of the city. So it could be on the edge of the city, so then it would be city property with city zoning. The broker knows there is the probability of highway construction along the frontage of the property in the future, but the government has announced no specific construction plans. At this point, the broker must do what? A, should aggressively market the property without reference to possible highway construction. Remember, he already knows that information. B, should tell the seller that the probability of highway construction makes his property much less valuable and he should sell quickly to get a better price. C, should tell the seller that the probability of highway construction will make his property more valuable in the future and he should wait to sell it and get a better price. D, should market the property as the seller directs and disclose to prospects any information about the possible construction. So disclose, disclose, disclose. Okay. So broker knows information, right? Any information we know we need to disclose, even though there is no plan as to when it's going to happen. Okay, so 18D. Any material fact known by the broker must be disclosed to all prospects. The broker must not make predictions about future value of real estate. Okay, we don't have a, what do you call it, a what do they call it? The blue ball, the imaginary ball, where we can predict the future. Okay, number 19. Laws regulating the maximum rates charged for loans are primarily, okay, let's see, several of you did write D, good. So laws regulating the maximum rates charged for loans are primarily enacted by A, the Treasury Department, B, individual states, C, Congress, or D, the Comptroller of the Currency. Laws regulating maximum rates charged for loans. Interesting one. So are those federal laws or are they state laws? Anyone? Okay, I have a 19B. Anyone else? (19B). Usury laws are enacted to protect borrowers from unreasonably high interest rates and are set by state laws. Okay, that's why when we look at mortgage rates, you're going to see interest rates for different states. When you go to bankrate.com or other mortgage websites, they'll usually ask, what state are you in? Very good, Lodi and Didi B. So the Treasury Department, no. So they said usury. The usury laws are enacted to protect borrowers. Usury laws are, it's national, we're on national questions. Usury laws are regulations governing the amount of interest that can be charged on a loan. Usury laws specifically target the practice of charging excessive high rates on loans by setting caps on the maximum amount of interest rates that can be levied. These laws are designed to protect consumers. Who is exempt from usury laws? Exempt from usury laws are lending institutions. So let's see, that are engaged in the business of making consumer or commercial loans such as bank savings and loans, credit unions, finance companies, and even pawnbrokers are exempt from California's usury laws. So usury is an unusually high interest rate of the lending money of an unusually high interest rate. An example is an interest rate of 30%. Now, if you're a private owner that is selling property on owner finance, this doesn't apply to that private owner because that's private money. They're lending their own money. They're not regulated. So number 19 was B. Did I write that in? Yes. Okay, 20. Math problem. Laura Murphy is buying a new home for $193,000. She makes a $40,000 down payment Okay, 40,000 down payment, and finances the balance with a 7.5% 30-year conventional loan. The factor for repayment is $7 per thousand. After making the first payment, what is the remaining balance on Laura's loan? So what's the first thing you have to do? Putting 40,000 down, right? So we're subtracting that from the 193. So it leaves a balance of what? 153. Wow, I just noticed the delay from what I'm seeing and reading to what you guys are seeing. And it's the factor for repayment is $7 per thousand. So there's $153,000 left. So, and it says, after making the first payment, what is the remaining balance? So you have different factors that you have to do, because payments are done, what, monthly, right? So whatever you multiply by the 7 per thousand then has to be divided by 12. Okay, so 153 times 7 equals 1,071. So they per thousand, remember, so that means you have to divide by 1,000 and you end up with 153. So then 153, so this is the principal and interest. So then they're multiplying 153 times the interest rate, okay? It says a 7.5% 30-year conventional loan interest rate. So that's the interest payment, okay, only. So it's 0.75 times 153, and then you have to divide it by 12 so that you get the monthly payment, because this right here is already a monthly payment. So 956.25 is the interest on that $153,000 loan. So then that has to be subtracted from the monthly payment of 153 times 7 to give you $114.75 is the amount that goes towards principal. And that's how much the loan is reducing by after 1 month payment. Okay? So the factor for repayment, so this factor here covers the principal and interest. So when you multiply the 7 times 153, that's the 193 minus the 40,000 divided by 1,000, right, per thousand, gives you 153. And so that multiplication there will give you the principal and interest payment. The 7.5 is an interest-only payment. So move the decimal back 2 places, 0.075, multiply that by 173, and you get the interest payment. Subtract the interest from the principal and interest and get what the principal payment is. And then subtract that principal payment from the 153, which is the total mortgage loan after paying 40,000 down. So the remaining balance is this, 152,885 and 25 cents. Did you all calculate that? So 20D. Did anybody figure that out? guys, I'm gonna go till 7:30 and call it quits at that point. So we will end today with question number 20 on national. I'm just getting really petered out here and feel like I'm going to be making mistakes. What page is 188, and then answers on page. Let's see. For me, at least, math is hard. It is, huh? Yeah, it takes understanding exactly their word problems, understanding exactly what they're asking for. So page 203. Well, you know what, since we'll just continue on with national instead of doing any state. I think all of you need to do national and not state. So let's continue on, okay, until 7:30. So let me change this. Okay, number 21. Let's see. Thank you, Tanisha. Thanks, Marianne. All right, so Edmund is being shown homes by real estate salesperson Alex. Several times in the course of looking at houses, Alex has said, I can help you get a great deal and we'll find the best possible property for you. Which of the following statements is true in this scenario? Alex is providing full service for his customer. B, Edmund believes Alex is his agent as Alex has implied an agency relationship. C, Alex is performing good service to the sellers he represents in these showings. And D, Alex is simply a facilitator. So remember what we went over, the implied earlier, right? So they're saying, hey, I can help you get a great deal. We'll find the best possible property. So we're talking about we. So that gives an inclination, right, that it's already agent and client, even though it says customer. Okay, it doesn't say that the customer or the buyer has signed a buyer's rep agreement. Okay, so number 21B, very good. Agency disclosure must be made at the beginning of any relationship between a broker or salesperson. That's the IABS, right? Information about brokerage services and a prospect. Alex's words and actions have implied to Edmund that he is being represented. It is also probable that Alex has breached his fiduciary duties to any seller he may represent. Right. So let's say he were to write an offer on a property that he represents. Then he doesn't have a buyer rep agreement, so he won't be able to represent that buyer. Well, this is a national question. So in other states, they can do that. They can have dual agency. We had it in Oregon. I don't know if it's still that way. In Texas, we only have single agency, right? One agent. So in this case, it is, they are disclosing, but in some cases, they could be breaching a fiduciary duty to any seller they may represent. As long as they're not discussing that property that they've got listed, then they should be okay. So 21B. All right, 21B, very good. Okay, number 22. Which of the following best describes the role? Oh, by the way, facilitators. We're not usually called facilitators. No. Let's say I'm representing the seller and the buyer comes to me and wants to see the property and decides to make an offer, and I write the offer. Well, I'm facilitating the transaction for that buyer because they are not my client. I do recommend to them, I do inform them that I represent the seller. I cannot negotiate or guide them in any way except for give them public information and comparables and any information that should be disclosed. I can also recommend that we get them a realtor or they get their own realtor so that they have their own representation. A lot of buyers say it's okay, just let's move forward. So then I do facilitate for them, okay? But I am representing the seller and have it. So the way I'm facilitating is that I'll let them know, hey, I'm taking the contract to the agency. You've got to keep track of dates, but a lot of times they don't. So I want to make sure my seller's transaction closes, right? And so I want to stay on top of it. However, if they fail to do certain things by the deadline, it's not my requirement to let them know that something is expiring. Let's say their 10-day option period were to expire. I'm not there to tell them when it expires. And if they don't do it within the deadline, then their earnest money is going to be at risk, okay? Okay, did I write the answer down? 21B, yes. 22, which of the following best describes the role of an agent who seeks a particular type of property for a client? A, general agent, B, independent contractor, B, special agent, or D, limited power of attorney? Okay, remember it says, describes the role of an agent who seeks a particular type of property. So like a specific type of property. Remember the word general. What is general? It's very broad, right? Independent contractor. Well, we're already an independent contractor, okay? C, are we a special agent? D, are we a limited power of attorney where we have a right to sign documents for them? So what are we? This is our last question for the night. Okay, I have 22B and what else? Anybody else? (22A), 22C, we're all over the place. 22A, okay guys, seeks a particular type of property. Describes the role of an agent who seeks particular type of property for a client. (22). The special agent, I should say, well, we're spatial. A special agent is like a specific agent for a specific property. We're not general. General is like a property manager. They have broad responsibilities. So a special agent is employed to provide a specific service over a specified time period. It said, which best describes the role of an agent who seeks a particular type. So instead of saying a specific type of property, they said particular type of property. Okay? And a general agent, that person would have to be a broker, right? Because agents don't represent property management, nor have general responsibilities. So, such as finding a buyer a property that meets the buyer's requirements, okay? So C is the answer here. We're a special agent. We're already a contractor, okay? And general agent, again, is an agent who has broad responsibilities, broad activities for that particular buyer. This one is for one property, one specific property. Okay, so that's it for tonight. So we will start at 23. And Tanisha, I wish you the best on Saturday morning, and remember to get some rest. If you don't, get up with time to have a cup of coffee, but not too much coffee. And don't do an all-nighter, even though I used to do that type of thing, but I've learned a little later. And get some rest, eat, and you already have experience going to take the exam, so you more or less know what you have to do. And remember to affirm, I passed, I passed, I passed. Say it, believe it, okay? And you receive. We have to believe it strong enough in order to receive it. So I pray that you get an easy exam and are able to pass it, and let me know you pass so we can say congratulations. All right, welcome to Agent Prep with Lillie Hendy. Remember to tap that subscribe button and click the little bell so you get notified every time I post a new video, and go ahead and like this video.